I'm redeploying nearly 1,000 members of the New York State Police, MTA Police, and MTA National Guard to conduct bag checks in the city's busiest transit stations. You'll start seeing them at the tables, making sure that weapons are not being brought in, working in concert with our New York State Police, as well as our NYPD. Because no one heading to their job or to visit family or to go to a doctor appointment should worry that the person sitting next to them possesses a deadly weapon.
Well, what do we got here? Well, it looks like here in New York, in our subways, we're going to be seeing the National Guard back here, checking bags again, like after 9/11. And this has gotten way out of hand in this situation. And Governor Hochul, Mayor Adams, DA Bragg, and several others, they are in fault. This is their fault that some of this is going on because of the political rhetoric they just keep pushing out there. That oh yeah, the crime numbers are down. Even though we got a little bit of this situation, but we have crime. We have a migrant situation, illegal migrant situation, and they're causing a percentage of the crime. Then we have the regular crime that's been going on, that's been escalating for quite some time, including shoplifting, drugs, illegal cannabis sales, cigarettes, the edibles, and many other things. We can go through a list of things. In our undergrounds alone, in our subways, I mean, take it for the example this is the violence that is going on right now.
Tonight after being hit with some sort of metal object when getting off a subway. It happened around 1 this afternoon at the Queens Boulevard and Grand Avenue station. Police say the attack was unprovoked and the suspect ran off.
Meanwhile, police have arrested the person behind a slashing on board a subway train. He made anti-LGBTQ statements to the victim before the slashing and now is being charged with a hate crime.
But we begin with a story we report day after day. Unrelenting violence in the New York City subway system. Tonight, a man recovers after he was kicked off the platform and onto the subway tracks.
Where just 4 days ago, a 29-year-old man was slashed on the side of the neck with a knife. The attacker, last seen wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt and a black vest, is apparently still at large. The same day as the knife attack in Queens, a man playing the electric cello in the mezzanine of the Herald Square station was attacked from behind by a woman who hit him on the head with a metal bottle. And police are looking for this man, who on Saturday hit a 31-year-old man multiple times over the head with a metal pipe.
And the thing is, now we have the governor of New York that's going to deploy at least 1,000 National Guardsmen to New York to check people's bags for weapons. What about their persons? Do you think I couldn't carry a knife under my pants to that situation? You may say to yourself, well, you could probably, get a gun. A gun would show a little more, as a bulge and stuff like that, that would, to the situation that, they might question something. So what are you carrying underneath you? But a knife, a box cutter, even a box cutter. There's a lot of guys here. I mean, I myself, I carried a box cutter. And the reason I carried a box cutter was some of the jobs I had, I opened boxes. So obviously I'm going to be carrying a box cutter. Sometimes I carry a good box cutter because I go through box cutters like crazy. I still, to this day, right now in my home, and I just tossed a bunch of them out. I have a lot of the broken cheap ones on there, and I just threw out a bunch of them just recently as I was cleaning out my drawers. And the thing is that they're, shanks, box cutters, there are a lot of things you can carry underneath. Screwdrivers, you can carry tools. You could carry tools under a toolkit, walk on there and say, hey, yeah, I'm a handyman. And, they still will let you through. Are you going to ban handymen going through on there, construction workers on their way to work? this is an insane situation here. You know, when you see a headline like this, Governor Hochul to deploy 1,000 National Guard, state cops to carry out bag checks in New York City subway. Are you including also the Staten Island ferry? Even though I think we still have dogs on the Staten Island ferry, if I'm not saying, dogs that are, you know, that check the bags coming in, because we had that for quite some time now. I know on the Staten Island side, we still have that because we do have a mini police precinct inside the Staten Island ferry. Police, there's always some sort of police presence on the Staten Island side, and I believe on the Manhattan side as well. Not like the Staten Island where they have a police precinct there, but there is a police presence in that whole area in itself. And what about Penn Station? What about Grand Central? Are they going to be putting them in there as well? What about the bus terminals? You know, we have the bus terminal on 42nd Street, and then we have the one all the way down the other side by the GW, the George Washington Bridge. You know, will they be putting them in there? I mean, and what stations do they choose to do that? You know, it's going to be Times Square. It's going to be 34th Street. It's going to be 14th Street. It's going to be down by Wall Street. They'll probably have it by the ferry. They're probably going to have, you know, the train stations by the ferry. I mean, there's a couple of them in there. But here is the issue that you have to say. How do you stop the crime in New York? First thing is get rid of this bail reform bullshit that's been going on for some time. They said, well, we got to fix it a little bit. No, get rid of it. Go back to the way it was. Number one. Number two, these DAs, Alvin Bragg and all the rest of them, they got to go. If they're not going to prosecute people for crimes on there and just willy-nilly just release them back onto the streets, and this goes for a couple of judges as well that has been doing this. You know, I mean, we had that recent situation, and I mentioned it briefly, of the musician in the subway that got hit by the crazy woman. You know, he got hit by his water bottle on the back of the head. Now, what we're finding, and we didn't really talk about this, is I think she used to work as a legal, civil rights. You know, she worked for a civil rights office, something to that nature. And she was released by a judge who knew her, something of that nature. Now she's been rearrested on shoplifting, stealing $325 Monaco baseball cap from Nordstrom's. And now she's being this is just after she was released. And I think that she's finally being held on bail, finally. They're asked for $10,000 bail, you know, because basically, you know, what's wrong with her? She has some mental issues, and this is the problem that we have down there between the illegal migrants that are causing situations out there, and also, you know, I didn't even put this in there because we're working on the story right now. You have migrants on there selling counterfeit goods. You know, AirPods from Apple out there. Be careful now these days. There are people out there trying to sell it on the streets, especially if you're in New York. They're trying to sell them real dirt cheap, like $50 for AirPods, you know, and they're, of course, made in China. But, you know, that this is something that's been ongoing. The other half to stop is that you need to prosecute. You know, you have a group of people that continue to commit the same crimes over and over again, shoplifting, assaults, and all that, and you keep releasing them back into the wild again. You need to keep these guys and charge them properly. Let the cops do their job. Let the cops check people, because they say, well, they're being racist again. If they're in a neighborhood that is primarily minority, guess who's going to be pulled over? Guess who's going to be checked? And they say, well, they're putting them in the minority because that's where the crime is. Cops go where the crime is, not where it's not happening. They go where the crime is. They don't pick and choose on there. They look at, there are stats brought out. The police department does stats. They look at the crimes at the beginning of the shifts. They say, well, you're going in this direction, and you're going in that direction. You're going to be in the subway for a reason. And they're not allowed to do this because the people, there are those on our city council that say, well, they're being racist. You know that. No, they're doing the job, the task that they have been hired for, to protect and serve. And this is the mental thought. The mental thought that they have on there. Cops having a hard time between people criticizing them for their job, and then there are some crooked cops in there. There are some cops that don't do their job. And that's the other half of the situation, is that we're hiring police officers that shouldn't be police officers. And that's just, there used to be a standard height, weight, all that situation is. Look at the police officers throughout the country and tell me I'm wrong. And look back into the police officers back, say, in the 1950s, the 1960s, the 1970s. Look at that time period. Look at the height and size. I mean, there was an episode of Dragnet, and I keep bringing this up, Dragnet, where this short guy, he got mad at Joe Friday, saying, like, you guys are racist. You guys won't hire me because I'm a Latino. And Joe looks at him and says, well, you look like you're about 5'6". It says, we have a height ratio, and there's a reason for that. We have a height ratio of how we hire police officers. It's nothing against you, you probably have to grow a little bit on that. And the guy's like, well, but, it is a crazy episode. But the thing about it is the truth. There's still standards on there. And they said, well, that's kind of racist to the situation. No, there's reasons for that nature. The nature of the beast. What cops, you got to respect the police officers and what they do. And the same thing with all other, ambulance drivers, the paramedics, the fire department. They all have hard jobs that they deal with on a daily basis, and they're not given any respect at all. So tell me in the comments below, tell me your thoughts about this. Am I right? Am I wrong? This is going into a dangerous situation. You're going to add the National Guard to check people's bags. How many people are going to deny bag checks? That's going to be a situation on there. We could end up having a lawsuit come across because of that. Think about that for a minute. And remember, if you're here for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hopefully I've earned your subscription today. We're well over 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to hit that 1,500 to 2,000 mark. We need your help to get there. Don't forget to share this video, hit the like, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel, as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are two ways listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.